What's going on? I'm making to another video, and today is another episode of my 100 movies I missed challenge. Now, before we get into any of that good stuff, first off, just disregard the background. I'm filming a bunch of videos in my apartment in advance before I am off on Christmas, and I am in an empty apartment. It's empty. I'm sitting on a cot right now, and there's nothing else in the apartment. So if it sounds a little echoey, which hopefully it's not because I have a microphone on my camera, or if it looks weird, just bear with me. I'm only here for a few more days, then I'm vacating my apartment for good, and then I'm heading off to spend the holidays with my family. So I'm looking forward to that. But that is not what we're talking about. Today we are doing another update of our top 100 favorite movies. No, that's not what we're doing today. That'll be the next video. The 100 movies I missed challenge, and this will actually be the final entry of this challenge for this year. We surpassed 150 movies, so I did well above the 100 movies challenge, and I got to see a lot of really great movies that I've never seen before. So I'm going to shout out Chris from Filmstocked, because he was the one that I got the inspiration for this idea from. And here we are now, 150 films later. I've seen so many movies, and some of which are now like my favorite movies of all time. And a lot of that is thanks to Chris for the idea. I know a lot of other YouTubers are doing it as well. I'll leave all their links down in the description. But yeah, this is the final update of this year. So anything I watch the rest of the year, because I plan on watching more stuff, is going to automatically go into 2021's updates, because I have an announcement video coming in a few weeks, but one of the announcements is I am rebooting and restarting this challenge once again, because it was fun. Even though movies are hopefully with a vaccine coming, hopefully movies are coming out in theaters and we've got a lot of new releases next year. But even with that being said, I really liked this challenge because I just got to grow my filmography, grow what I have seen. And I really appreciate that, because I'm trying to become more engrossed in film in general. And it's not just watching the new releases. You have to watch the history of film. You got to watch the old movies. You got to watch the movies that have come out in the past, and I really enjoyed that. So that series will be coming back next year. Even with a bunch of new releases coming out next year, I will keep doing that. But yeah, so any movies I watch the rest of this year, which I plan on watching more, it's only the 17th of December, so I still have half of the month left. And I plan on watching more movies that I've never seen before. But I wanted to film this video, and then with my schedule, this is the last day I'm going to be able to give you one of these updates. So any movies I watch the rest of the year will automatically go into next year's list. And yeah, we will be doing one more video though based around this at the end of the year. You know, everyone loves the top 10 lists of the year. I will be doing a top 10 of 2020 because I have seen 50 movies from 2020 this year. So I can still give a top 10 and bottom 10 of 2020, which I absolutely plan on doing. But I'm also gonna give my top 10 from the 100 movies I missed challenge. So you're gonna get the top 10 movies that I saw for the first time in the 100 Movies I Missed Challenge. That will also be coming at the end of this year. So you will be getting some more content revolving around this challenge at the end of the year. And then at the beginning of next year, instead of ranking all of the 2020 releases I saw, I'm going to be ranking all of the 100 Movie I Missed Challenge movies. That's over 150 movies I will be ranking. I'm already exhausted thinking about it, but that'll be fun. It's going to be one of those really long videos like I do every year. Like last year, actually at the beginning of this year, I ranked all 111 movies I saw from 2020 last year. It was about an hour and a half video, but I had fun with it. But I'm going to stop dilly-dallying. We've got, I believe, 16 movies to talk about today. If I remember correctly, I apologize. I need to pull up the list on my Letterboxd, which follow me on Letterboxd, FinaticFilms. 151 total movies from this year. We have 17 to talk about today. So I'm not going to do big reviews. I'm just going to tell you what I thought about them, if I liked them, if I didn't like them, then I will tell you the Letterboxd rating I gave for them. All right? Sounds pretty good. Without further ado, I think let's just get started. So the first one in this list is Wildlife. This is from 2018, directed by Paul Dano, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Carey Mulligan. This film floored me. It floored me. It just absolutely blew me away. The performances are spectacular. The film is heartbreaking and tragic. I mean, watching it just made me feel a certain type of way. I absolutely loved it. I think the direction from Dano is superb. I think the performances, like I already said, overall are fantastic. And I would highly recommend anyone check out this movie if they haven't. I got it on Criterion, so I wanted to watch it on the Criterion Collection. It's amazing. It really, truly is. You all should check it out if you have not already. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. I adore this movie. I think it is fantastic, and it's awesome. The next one I watched was Harold and Maude. Now, this is another one on Criterion. I did not watch it on Criterion. I believe I streamed it on, like, Prime or something like that. I watched it for my film class. We had the option to watch, like, it was like out of like 7 or 8 films, and I saw Harold and Maude, and I was like, I've actually kind of wanted to check this out because a lot of people recommended it, like in the Criterion Closet videos and stuff like that. So I checked it out. It's something. It's definitely something. It's a very quirky movie revolving around death and romance, and it was something, but I enjoyed it. It's about like a dark comedy that is very dark, and I'm always a sucker for like dark comedy. I think dark comedy is funny in some ways, shapes, and forms, and this film was like the king of dark comedy, and it was a fun time. It's very morbid, but for what it was fun. 4 out of 5 stars. It's definitely not for everyone, but if you're into like morbid dark humor, it's definitely something for you, so I would check it out. The next one, the next one I watched was The Usual Suspects from 1995. Oh, Harold and Maude was from 1971. I apologize. 1995. Great cast. The story was pretty easy to follow. I got confused at some points, but then when it all ties in at the end, it's like, oh wow, the reveal is very interesting. It was good. I mean, it was okay. It was good for what it was. I know a lot of people like really, really love it, and I liked it. I had a good time with it. I felt the runtime a little bit. It lagged for me. But overall, it wasn't bad. I actually kind of enjoyed it. Okay, I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I had fun with it. It was a relatively good time. The next one is Logan Lucky from 2017. I merely watched this because I love Adam Driver and he's in it, and I wanted to watch it. But then I was pleasantly surprised. It's got a really good cast. They all give really great performances. It's an oddball, like really interesting but fun heist movie that revolves around heisting a huge sporting event, which I never thought about, but I'm like, that kind of makes sense. A lot of money is spent at these huge sporting events. So that was interesting. But I mean, just overall fantastic performances. The way the story is told, how everything is executed is really well done. I really had a good time with this. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was a lot of fun. I really, really, really had a good time with it. The next one is Fury, one that I had highly been anticipating watching. I've wanted to watch it. I've had multiple times where like I'm gonna watch it, and then I never did. But this time I took the plunge and I watched it. It's a really great. It's a really, really good war movie. I mean, great performances, a really great emotional punch at the end. I mean, the ending is really, really good. It's very tragic, but just good. And I really liked it. Brad Pitt gives a knockout performance in this film. I mean, it's really, really fantastic. But yeah, 3.5 out of 5 stars. Really dang good World War II film. I mean, I gave it like a like the 80s. So, not the best World War II film I've ever seen, but for what it is very good, and I really, really enjoyed it. The next one is Rushmore from, what's his name? Why am I forgetting his name? Wes Anderson. I kept thinking Paul Thomas Anderson in my head, and I'm like, no, that's not who it is. It's Wes Anderson. Quirky film. Quirky film. Great performance by Jason Schwartzman. He's fantastic in this film. But I'm not a big fan. Like, he performed really well, but I'm not a big fan of the writing. I'm not a big fan of his character. He's very unlikable. You're not rooting for him at all when you they want you to. He's a very, very unlikable character. Now, overall, it's great Wes Anderson. He directs a fantastic film, but the writing took me a bit out of it. I wasn't rooting for anyone. And in some films that's okay, but in this one, they were trying to get you to root for the protagonist, and I just couldn't. He was too unlikable. I just didn't like it. Still gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Not terrible. Wes Anderson, again, is very good at what he does, directing-wise, but there's just some stuff that knocked it down for me. The next film I watched is Moonwalkers. This is from 2015, starring Ron Perlman and Rupert Grint, about faking the moon landing. This is a film. This was not a great film. The only reason I watched it was because I've been watching Sons of Anarchy and I love Ron Perlman. So I've been on a Ron Perlman kick. It's not a good movie. It's not. The premise, it got me a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, that seems pretty cool. I'll watch it, but just it's not executed well. It's very raunchy. The comedy doesn't always hit. Ron Perlman and Rupert Grint do with it what they can, but it's just not a very sound film. 2 out of 5 stars. It's by far the lowest rated on this list. And yeah, if you want to watch it, give it a watch, but it's not fantastic. The next one I watched is Heat. This is another one that I've highly been wanting to watch for a long time. Great direction by Michael Mann. There are definitely some scenes where you can tell they're in front of a green screen, but I digress. I thought it was straight up heist the entire time, but no, it's like heist drama throughout. And I kind of liked that. I kind of liked the cat and mouse of it. Great performances by Pacino, De Niro, everyone involved. Very long movie, but I got through it. I enjoyed it. 3.5 out of 5 stars. Pretty dang good. Now we're getting into a trilogy that I was very excited to watch. Been anticipating watching it for a long time, but I waited because my family wanted to watch it as well because they've never seen the movies before. We're talking about The Lord of the Rings. I finally did it. Finally watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I watched it over Thanksgiving break. Not the extended versions. I will just say that. We watched the theatrical versions. We did not watch the extended versions. But the first one, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. It's a great world building, getting us into the story, telling us what's going on. Like, it's very, very well done, directed great, fantastic performances. It's very long. You can feel the lag and not a lot is happening of substance, but that's okay because it's all world building and getting you into it. So I'm not knocking it that much. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Still a fantastic movie, and it's a great beginning to the trilogy. But then we get into the meat and potatoes of this. We got Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. This one, we're getting into it. We're getting into the action. The war has begun. I mean, everything's happening. We're getting great character development, not just from the main characters, but some of the side characters too. We're getting really great development. So it's not just Frodo and Gandalf and that main fellowship. It's everyone that is involved in this war. We're getting more development from all of them, which I really liked. I liked learning about some of the side characters, Merry, Pippin. They're not main characters, they're side characters on this quest, but we get some time with them. We get to learn about them, and I really enjoy that because they end up being some of my favorite characters in the trilogy. So that's awesome. I mean, the huge battle at the end is amazing. Gandalf rolling in deep, helping out at the last moment. 5 out of 5 stars. It's a fantastic movie, it really is. But nothing will compare to Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. I gave it a 99 out of 100. It's such a brilliantly done, directed, written movie. You bow to no one. I mean, that's just a brilliant, moment, because they are the heroes. The hobbits are the heroes of this story, and I love that. I love, the closure and the, payoffs. You guys know I love payoff, and this was a great movie of payoff and story that was just done so well, and I really enjoyed it. 5 out of 5 stars. Absolutely fantastic. The trilogy is great. It really, really is. Moving on now, we have American Hustle from 2013. I didn't really know what to expect with this film. I had picked it up in a $5 bin at Walmart, and I was like, I'll give it a try. I've held on to it for probably about a year and a half and have not watched it. I finally decided to watch it. Great performances overall by everyone. I mean, it's a star-studded cast, and they all give fantastic performances, written relatively cleverly. It drags a lot, though. You can feel the pacing. Some of the characters are not very likable, but they're not supposed to be, so I kind of give that a pass. But it's nothing entirely special for me. It was a good film that I believe is based off a true story, but that's kind of as far as it went for me. So I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Still a decent, middle-of-the-road film. Pretty good, great performances, but it's just not 5 out of 5. So there you go. Then we got some fun ones. We got Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's fun. It's fun. It knows what it is. It goes for it. Great performances. Keanu Reeves, Alex Winter are fantastic. I just love how it works and how it all culminates with the ending history presentation. I got a real kick out of that. It was a lot of fun. 4 out of 5 stars. It was fun. And then we got Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, the next one. Not as great. I mean, the first one has this charm that just will never be duplicated. I haven't seen Face the Music, so it might be duplicated in that, but the original has a charm that can't be duplicated. But that doesn't mean this isn't a good one. Still great performances. The whole thing about death and the robot Bill and Ted, I found funny to a point. It did get a little repetitive at times. But yeah, it's middle of the road. It's pretty good. 3 out of 5 stars. It's fun for what it is. Then we get into a trilogy that I literally just finished 20 minutes ago, right before I started recording this video. We got the Bourne Trilogy, so the Bourne Identity. Everyone really likes Fish Out of Water. I'm not the biggest fan of the Fish Out of Water shtick. I know that this first one was done in 2002, so it wasn't as exploited as it is now. So for the time, it was probably pretty good. Now I'm just a little fatigued of the whole Fish Out of Water shtick. But it's still good for what it was. Matt Damon gives a good performance. It's got great action. Kind of figuring out what's going on, who he is, what he does is good. I enjoy it. 3.5 out of 5 stars, still a relatively good score. But I'm not a big fan of the Fish Out of Water. I'm not. Then we got the Bourne Supremacy from 2004. This is a step up. We know more about what's going on with him. Now we're just, he's been framed. We're trying to clear his name. I really like that. The action in this one, I believe, is better. I think it's directed better than the first one. There's just more action and it leaves more of a punch. And there's actual stakes. I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't seen them, even though this came out in 2004, but there's actual stakes. And they lead Jason to go back and do what he does. But I really enjoyed this one. It was pretty good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's fun. And then we've got the Bourne Supremacy. This is my favorite of the 3. I'll say that right now. The most going on. We are actually trying to get to the bottom of who Jason Bourne is. And yet again, we have another, person in the agency trying to just take him down. But it all comes to a head in New York. He's stateside, and all these events in New York. You guys, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And then a great ending, cliffhanger that leaves it open to the future. And yeah, 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really, really did enjoy this film. I'm watching the other 2 tonight. They're not going to be in this video. They are going to start off my list of 2021. But I'm going to end that franchise tonight. So I'm excited. I'm going to watch The Bourne Legacy, and I'm going to watch Jason Bourne. But yeah, that's it, guys. Let me know down below in the comments, what do you think of any of the films I talked about today? I saw Lord of the Rings, I saw The Bourne, I saw Bill and Ted. I saw some good stuff this go around. So let me know down below in the comments, what did you think? But guys, that is pretty much it. Thanks so much for taking time to click on the video, liking, commenting, subscribing. All that means the absolute world. Again, thank you so much for 500 subscribers. I know I've talked about it a lot, but it does mean the absolute world. But guys, that's pretty much it. Have a rest of your day. We'll see you in the next video.